Hello there, guys, and welcome back to my channel for a live reaction and player ratings live stream following Chelsea 1, Al Hilal 0, or the other way around as it was officially. So Al Hilal 0, Chelsea 1. We are through to the Club World Cup final, which is, certainly the best news of the day. Second best news is that Romelu Lukaku actually knows how to score a goal, but just one. Should have scored 3, but, better one than nothing. It won't be as harsh as the last 2 games because he didn't actually score. So, something. But, yeah, first half was... we had different... All of us had different opinions on what we thought of the first half. Some people thought the first half was even not good. I thought the first half was pretty good, if not good. Pies even texted me, he thought the first half was very good or brilliant if you want. But the second half, I think we can all agree, was absolutely diabolical. I'm not going to say the only reason was Kante coming on for Jorginho, but, that's the only thing we changed. So, certainly had to play some sort of role in it because that second half was... Oh my days, were we bad. Other than that Kai Havertz run and that chip onto the post very early in the second half, the only good player on the pitch in the second half was Kepa. With 2 outstanding saves to actually take us to this Club World Cup final. But there will be a lot to get through today. At the end of the day, at least, we are through. I am joined by 3 fantastic guests, as I am always on this channel. You need to appreciate the brilliance of guests that we have on here. VJ, thank you for coming on, especially at such short notice, because I only messaged you quite shortly before we actually started this. Thank you for coming on. What's your initial reaction? How did you especially compare first half and second half? Did you think the first half was okay, or did you think the whole thing was pretty bad?
No, the first half was good for me. We kind of enjoyed a lot of possession. And I was thinking, or at least from what I heard from a lot of Al Hilal fans, was that they dominate possession in the games that they play. So I was thinking we probably, it's going to be difficult for us to do that, but we still managed to do that, and we did that beautifully. I enjoyed the first half, but the second half was like, oh my goodness, I was nervous that we're actually going to concede goals. And I'm not going to lie, had we given them 10 more minutes, we probably would have. Kepa, great job. Kante, in the way that he performed today, it's not the first time that he's done that. Recently, in the matches that he's come back from the bench, he seems to be not performing to the best of his ability. And today he actually won tackles, but the problem was whenever he won tackles, the ball went to the next man, who was like the Al Hilal player, and that's where we had issues. So I think Kante was terrible today, and a lot of issues kind of stemmed out from that midfield change.
I don't disagree, bro. We had so much control in the first half. Al Hilal did nothing. They had a couple of shots from distance, but they didn't threaten us once really. Every time we lost the ball, we won it back immediately with either cover or Jorginho, obviously one of the centre backs. It was just good. But the second half, honestly, we couldn't keep the ball. Whenever it wasn't even a case in the second half where the forwards were bad. They were bad, but we didn't even get the ball to them anymore. It was just awful. The second half was really, really, really bad. Clutch, let me get to you. You seemed very, very annoyed when I started talking to you as we started talking here off air. What's your thoughts? Did you think the first half was at least good, or did you not like that one either?
No, I think the first half was pretty good. We were pressing high. We were winning the battle up top. Even Lukaku kind of got a couple chances from our press. It's that second half where we seem to have this problem where we take our foot off the pedal. We had 5 subs available, and we only used 3 in the end. And we have a game 3 days away or 2 days away or whatever it ends up being. It makes no sense when we've clearly lost control of the game. And we're relying on good defense and Kepa to make the saves, which, yes, you should be relying on your players to do that. But at some point it's going to give if it's consistent enough. And that team was really bad. Al Hilal was really bad. Unfortunately, the problem is a better team would have exploited us and would have made us look worse. We're Chelsea. We shouldn't be losing, or we shouldn't be winning by 1-0 to this team. I don't care how good they are. We're the champions of Europe. We play in one of the best leagues in the world. We beat Man City last year. It's not like it's a different team. It's not like we have a completely different team other than Lukaku. It's just we didn't do what we needed to do in the second half, and I feel like if we do that again, we probably won't come home with a trophy.
We better do. We absolutely better do. We can't exactly be as bad again. Don't think that's physically possible for us to play as badly again on Saturday as we did in the second half today. Pies, of course, big up yourself as well for coming on. Your thoughts? Like I said, you text me you were very happy with the first half, but how did that second half go so wrong?
I don't know, to be honest. I'm going to slightly disagree with you guys. I think it was just one of those games where I think if you guys thought that Al Hilal weren't going to have a 10, 20-minute period where they had a bit of on top, in terms of going forward, I think, that would be a bit unrealistic. I think we defended pretty well. I mean, Christensen and Rudiger especially were very good at nullifying the duels. I mean, the wingers and when winning their duels. I mean, Pereira, I didn't even notice he was on the pitch, and I was shit scared of him. This guy scored 50% of his career goals against Chelsea, and he did nothing. I thought the midfield was pretty good. I'm guessing Jorginho came off because of rest. I'm assuming that's what a couple of the reporters said. But yeah, I mean, was we great going forward? No. Are we ever great going forward? No. So. But to be fair, I thought, a couple of players, I thought Havertz was decent at times. I think Lukaku was a lot better, but still could have done a bit more. I think, especially, some of those balls where it really confuses me. Like you can see the connections not there. He's calling for balls across or it's calling for balls across the box, but what he actually needs to do is actually run to the front post, because every time they were going to front post or middle, and he was at the back post on the left or the back post on the right, it's like it's not quite clicking. But to be fair, considering the circumstances, the heat as well, I was told apparently was like 35, 40 degrees out there or something crazy. So that's why I said it was like a few people in my group chat apparently that were checking or something, because we were discussing like why does the game sort of tailed off and sort of that sort of thing.
Right now, I don't know where obviously these people that told you this came from, but iPhone weather's right now saying Abu Dhabi 16 degrees. So I'm not sure where that's come from, but I don't know.
Maybe it's on a different
maybe it's Fahrenheit.
Yeah,
that comparison doesn't seem on.
Mine says 60 degrees Fahrenheit right now.
Yeah, as I said though,
the thing is, sorry to cut you off there, Bryce. So the thing is, a lot of Asian countries, right, what happens basically is, I come from Asia, so I can pretty much relate to whatever, happens during the night in those sort of countries, right, the Arab countries specifically. It gets cold towards the late night, like 12 or 1 o'clock or something like that. But before that, the humidity that you would have got in the day kind of settles down in the night. So what happens basically is like you sweat a lot, and you keep draining out your energy a lot than what you usually do in Europe. That's the problem. Like 70 minutes playing in Dubai is probably equal to 90 minutes you're playing in Europe in terms of the energy levels.
Yeah, and I think that was evident in the second half. I think we slowly tailed off. I think, especially when we was attacking, a few times where Havertz had the ball in dangerous position, instead of like running towards the goal, he would like turn around and pass it back. And I was like, okay, something's not right here. They're obviously just either really tired or it's within the game plan to just try and preserve the game and just keep the ball at that stage. I don't know, but it wasn't like a full-blown, attacking performance. It was definitely more focused on, I thought, keeping out their threats, which I think we did really well. And I think a lot of people were saying we should play 4 at the back, but in this game, the 3 at the back gave us so much control. Like they couldn't, like every time in the second half as well, for me, every time they tried to press us, we passed around them, whether that was into Kovacic or across to Christensen from Rudiger or to Alonso. Alonso got, rightly subbed off towards the end. I think he should have been maybe subbed off a bit earlier. He was really the main fight. I think he gave the ball away a couple of times. And I mean, but to be honest with you, if you didn't think Al Hilal were going to have a 10, 15-minute period where, they were going to go at a goal, then it's pretty, that's... I don't really understand that.
Well, I think we gave them that. I think Al Hilal were absolutely horrendous and are no better than Plymouth, personally. From what we saw there today, they're no better than Plymouth. Like, we gave them everything. Why, in my opinion, I mean, fair, your opinion is your opinion, bro. But if we ever got under threat from pressing by Al Hilal, I would be very worried. To me, no matter what formation we play, we should pass around their press no matter what. Like, it's Igalo, who's like 30 watt. Marega, who left Porto for money, even if these players were good at some other places before, the reason they left is because they wanted money, and automatically they're nowhere near as good. Do you think, like Oscar keeps talking about coming back to Chelsea? The whole Chelsea fan base, it's better than man. Anyway, these players get worse when they go to these places. To me, Al Hilal were not very good at all, but we were just very bad in the second half. And I mean, I get what you're saying in terms of you always should expect them to have a 10, 15-minute period of being on.
What do you mean by very bad, though? Do you mean in terms of you wanted more attacking, or because I thought, we gave the ball away a couple of times, but I don't think it was awful.
We couldn't even get the ball to our attackers. Like we lost the ball every time we tried to get past the halfway line.
See, I thought we did that well. It was actually in the attacking areas where we would pass it back, or not put combinations together. Like example, when we played it out to Aspi, and when Mount came on, Mount wasn't trying to get Lukaku on the ball. He was just passing back all the time, passing sideways. That was annoying. He linked up with Kante, but not Lukaku. And Lukaku was getting annoyed with that.
But I think
and Havertz was passing back.
We didn't move up as a team. Like Clutch said it there in terms of possession. First half we had 62. Second half, Al Hilal had 55% of the ball. So clearly we lost all sorts of control. Like in my opinion, we had no control every time they tried to hit us on the break. We never won the ball back. Like first half, every time they tried to break, we stopped it. Second half, they were all through on our defenders every time.
Jorginho gives you control.
The fact that Kepa has to make 2 game-saving saves against Al Hilal, to me, is awful.
Yeah, I always say that average possession will go up when Jorginho's on the pitch, though. I always said that.
Of course, but come on, come on. Even you would expect Chelsea to have more of the ball against pretty much any team in the whole world, other than Man City, Bayern Munich, maybe Liverpool, maybe PSG. Like every other team in the world, we should have more possession than. No matter whether it's Jorginho or Kante on the pitch, come on.
I think, I've said this a lot about Kovacic and Kante, is they're 2 box-to-box midfielders, so I don't think they're naturally comfortable. They're not even in the starting positions that Jorginho usually is. Kovacic was picking it up from deep a couple of times, but still, like, we didn't have as much possession because we were forced to go up wide. And then, as I said, Alonso kept losing it. A few times we played it out to Aspi, like long balls, for example. A couple of them went off the pitch. So, I think it's not enough to say, well, that should have been, they should have had 55% possession. But I still think Jorginho going off is one of the main reasons why we didn't dominate the second half.
But still, of course it was. Of course, I'm not disagreeing with you there. I'm saying, but it shouldn't be just an accepted thing. Like it shouldn't be that drastic.
It shouldn't if we conceded. I think maybe because we didn't concede, I think we got the job done. I'm not as angry. Like
I mean, hey, I'm not super angry. I'm just a little bit surprised that you're not more upset with the second half performance, if you will. But hey, in the end, I'd rather be you than me, to be honest. It's always better to
That's because I said I thought it was like a pre-season game. Like it kind of just, I wasn't really like, even when we was on the attack, I don't know, just. It didn't have a semi-final vibe to it, did it?
Played like it was. So doesn't that automatically mean we were bad?
Huh? What did you say?
Because it wasn't a preseason game, but I agree with you. We played like it was, and that to me means we were awful.
I don't know. We'll see what quotes come out. I mean, for me, I think a lot of traveling, conditions, first time playing, and that sort of humidity. Because as sports-wise said, it's not just about the temperature; it's about the humidity and what it feels like. It's very sticky. I've been to Abu Dhabi, Dubai myself, and Dubai, so it's different.
Oh no, for sure. But like it's only like the game only just finished like 10 minutes ago or 20 minutes ago now. And it's 16 degrees, like 16 degrees, like that. You would need a jumper. If you go outside in 16 degrees, you need a jumper. Like,
that's the thing, right?
But it can be 10 degrees there and it can still feel sticky, you know what I mean?
Yeah. That 16 is different from the 16 that you are used to in Europe.
Of course.
Right? And I think that is the reason why playing football in these conditions could be difficult. Like if you watch cricket
the whole
matches
game
as well,
was at night time though, bro, wasn't it? So like
it was in the night time, but I'm saying the effect of the day heat would be in the night, the early night before the actual coldness comes into the equation. Like 12 o'clock at Dubai could be very cold, right? That's the desert coldness that you might get. But 7 to 9 or 7 to 11 is when the heat actually reduces, and the effect of that heat will be felt in those timings. And since the game was played at that timing, I think it had a lot of impact on the players, especially European players.
See, I'm okay with that.
I might be wrong on that, but I will say, like, I know these players, obviously, they are from Saudi Arabia, they're playing in that climate. But, like, come on now. Germany won the World Cup in Brazil, Like, you can't just say, the Europeans can't handle the weather. Like, I think that's making it a bit easy for our players here. But I'm not saying you're wrong, BJ. Obviously, you clearly know much better than I do because you live in a similar climate. But yeah, regardless. Let's get back to actually talking about the lineup, which when it initially came out, there was a lot of people reasonably unhappy, I would say. BJ, I'm just talking to you. What was your reaction when it came out? Did you expect the back three? I mean, to be fair, big up Pice. He was here yesterday. We was all talking, we would prefer a back four, but Pice was here. Yeah, but what should be
I knew that was going to happen, bro.
He was right. He was right.
I had a feeling.
Well, what was your reaction to it, BJ, when the lineup initially came out?
To be honest with you, I was kind of surprised with the way that we put out the lineup. Like if it was three at the back, I expected Mount to start that rather than Ziyech, and I kind of was okay. That kind of felt in the game as well. Ziyech was not as efficient as he was in the back four. You could see that as well. So I thought, okay, it's a back three. Then why is Ziyech playing instead of Mount? And I thought maybe Mount was not available or something. And then he came in and he played the rest of the 20 minutes. Of course, he's come back from an injury. I get that. But if that was the context, then we could have just gone with the back four and asked Ziyech to play because he's far more effective in that sort of a formation. But could that be also because we wanted one more attacker on the front with Alonso and, Alonso trying to contribute more on the attacking side? Maybe. To be honest with you, I felt the formation and the players that we had on the pitch was something that was kind of, I didn't really agree with it.
Yeah, it's just like, to me, when our wing backs are Alonso and Aspi, just don't play a back three, man. Like, it's just like with Reece and Chile, it's one thing. Even if we play Callum or Pulisic arriving, I know Clutch doesn't like it. I get it. But in terms of it's an attacking wing back and it's basically creating overloads in attacking phases, I can deal with that. If you use this game to give Kennedy a chance, also fair enough. But Alonso and Aspi, like, have we not learned enough over the last few weeks and months that just doesn't? Right? I love Tuchel and I love our coaching team, right? But they confuse me, man. And I know Lukaku scored today, and I keep going on about it, but he's the only player in this whole squad that would get an eighth start after 7 games as bad as he had recently. And yeah, it is probably pressure from above that he has to start. I get it, but it's still just not it, man. Like, it's not it. I mean, it was properly a 4-2-3-1, 3-4-2-1, sorry. But Kai was obviously a bit closer to Lukaku and a bit more of a second striker than Ziyech was. Now, for me, I thought BJ, first half, Ziyech was actually still pretty good, but second half, I probably kind of agree with it. I don't know. It's just I don't get why would we pick that? Like, this. I don't know.
To be honest with you,
the only way we scored, mind you, is literally heading it to Lukaku in their own 6-yard box. It's the only way we scored. Like, I don't understand why some people say we were good. Like, even the goal was complete luck, pure luck, nothing else.
Yep.
But anything to add, VJ? Otherwise, I'll move on to Clutch.
I just wanted to quickly clarify something, right? I still think Ziyech was the best player on that front three, but Ziyech that we see in back four was not something that I could feel in the back three. And that's where I was kind of a bit disappointed. But again, he was the best on the back, in the front three today.
I agree with you, mate. Clutch, your reaction to the lineup when it initially came out, let alone in hindsight?
I can't lie, I hate the back three because, I mean, in recent times, like you said, with Alonso and Aspi, it's not up to par. You're asking, sometimes Kovacic gets involved in the attack, but you're asking 3 attackers to take on 4 defenders, and especially in the form, and especially in the form they're in, it doesn't work. Like you said, it took a lucky headed back pass from one of their players for Lukaku to even get into a decent enough position to get a goal. Sure, I think he was better than he has been, sure, Lukaku, but just back three, it's just, I don't like it, and I don't know. And yesterday when we were talking about it, I in my head, I was like, there's a trophy on the line. We're probably going to go play the back three. I mean, that's how I kind of expect things to go from here on out. If there's a trophy on the line, we're probably going to go into a back three. Because, I mean, defensively, we're sound, but it's Al Hilal. Why were we so scared that they were going to destroy us in some way that we reverted back to our defensive posture? I don't get it.
They are a very attacking team, Clutch. You have to remember that. If we played a back four, they could have scored 1 or 2 goals today, but they didn't because we played a back three. We were so solid at the back.
they could have scored 1 or 3 goals today in a back three. So
they could have, bro, but like their attacking transitions and just general attacking play is usually very good. And people say they're bad. That's because we nullified them today with the back. It was essentially a back five. That's what it is. It's a back five, not a three. And
Yeah, but
it was
bro,
very
don't
it was
understand
very
why
very
you're hyping
solid.
Al Hilal this much. It honestly confuses me. Like,
Bro, did you see some of their finishes last game? Like these weren't normal
yeah, but
goals.
if you watch a League One game, then you will see good finishes. So you're going to tell me those are great?
They've scored like they scored like 30 goals in their last 10 matches. I know the opposition's not as good as Chelsea, but still, why would you take the risk? This is what I said yesterday, or not yesterday. Whenever we did the preview stream, I said like, why would you? Yeah, yesterday. I was like, I personally would go for a back four because I'm that way inclined. Like I like to see a good game as a neutral, but I was like, it's going to go over back three because you won't take the risk of going head to head with such an attacking team. They looked clueless today because we were so defensively solid. Our structure was brilliant. They didn't have a clue apart from the 15, 20 minute or 10, 15 minute period where we allowed them to get in the game. Like you said, through silly mistakes, through, Alonso being overrun a couple of times. Like they had a couple of good shots, especially the Kepa save was fantastic, but like I just thought the formation was perfect because we nullified them. It's just annoying because we're never as good going forward. That's there's no.
Did we lose?
You stop your sentence? It sounded like there was going to be more coming. Now to go back to clutch. The back three itself to me is really the problem. It's more like the wing backs are the problem because they don't do anything, and we don't like these two don't do anything, and we don't have enough attackers to let them do everything. Like, but I have to. I personally disagree with Pice. I think if we just played better, Al wouldn't have been much of a problem at all. But because obviously we weren't good enough, kept giving the ball away, obviously that invites anybody on. Same thing happened against Plymouth the other day. It was literally the same thing. And am I saying they were as bad as Plymouth? No, of course I'm not saying that. But we're talking about ourselves as much as our form has been great. We just won the Champions League, the biggest club competition in the whole world. We wanted, until a few weeks ago, we were in for a shout to win the Premier League. This isn't even like, and now we're like, Al Hilal too good offensively. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, we don't even want to, like, we are even unhappy if we are too passive against Man City. Like, and we're okay with it against Al Hilal. That confuses me. But Pice, hey, each their own, I suppose. But Pice, I haven't really asked you yet, I suppose. Your initial reaction when the lineup was out, as much as you said, obviously you expected a back three. Was you still annoyed with it when you saw it, or did you think?
Yeah, I said probably God's gonna have to save us today because I thought three left-footed players in the front three never really works. I don't like Havertz on the left-hand side. I think it really limits him, but I think he did a lot better than I expected today. Just didn't. I never liked Lukaku as a lone striker. I think if you play Lukaku and Havertz, I was hoping maybe it was going to be like a 3-5-2, but it wasn't. It was two wide forwards clearly.
Yeah.
And I think when I saw Aspi and Alonso, I was like, my reaction to that. Didn't really mind Kovacic and Jorginho. I was, say Kante for the final, as I said to you, hopefully, but I mean he came on. So
the way he played, I don't want him playing in the final, if I'm honest, but.
Yeah, I think with Kante, I don't really take much notice to his bad performances because I just know how good he is. Like, he will just drop like a 12 out of 10 in the final usually. So if he plays, I reckon. I mean, I didn't like the lineup. Let's put it that way.
Fair dues. Let's move into the player ratings. Before we do that, though, ladies and gentlemen, we have over 300 people watching, so big up yourself. Appreciate it a lot. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. We're on the road to 15,000 subscribers, so hit that big red subscribe button down below. Every new subscriber counts, so, if you're not subscribed yet, please change that. And smash the like button for me as well. Let's get to at least 150 likes. Just one click of a button. Doesn't cost you any money. Doesn't cost you any time. Let's do it the way we have done recently, and let's leave the goalkeeper to last, especially on a day like today, where he's, in my opinion, clearly man of the match. Let's do the back three first. Not really sure which way to go. So why don't we do Thiago Silva first? Not his best game, but was he awful? No. I mean, his shot in the first half was interesting. Never seen Thiago Silva shoot from 30 yards, but, showed enough about how bad our attacking was, the fact that Thiago Silva decided to shoot from 30 yards. But obviously for the big chance that Marega had, that Kepa did well to save, Thiago Silva was kind of, messed that one up a little bit, I can't lie. But overall, it wasn't shocking. I would just probably going to give him like an average 6. I can't lie. I mean, Pice might go a bit higher, but for me, yeah, I wouldn't really go higher than a 6 if I'm honest. Clutch, what about you? 6 for you? Would you go higher? Would you go lower?
Yeah, I'd probably go for a 6. I mean, he did have that one moment in the second half where they were through on goal, and he kind of stepped in and got it, and then ran the other way with it. But nothing really came of that transition.
Don't even remember it. But
yeah, it was pretty late.
Might be doing Thiago Harshton if that happened, and I can't remember it.
It was pretty late in the game. I'm gonna go 6.5.
Fair. Let me do Pice next. What do you reckon?
Yeah, 6.5. I agree. I think obviously just sometimes I notice this when Silva plays in the middle. Obviously, there's just some games where teams attack just mainly down the sides, and he kind of never really has to do anything. But yeah, I thought he was pretty good on the ball as usual. He was shouting at the players a lot. So yeah, it's good leadership. Obviously, I noticed that obviously from free kicks and stuff. Always really good. So yeah, I mean the attacks definitely came down the other sides. I think that reflected in sort of the Jules stats for both Rudiger and Christensen, but I'll give him a 6.5. He was decent.
Fair dues. Let's do sorry, VJ, of course. VJ, first. What was your rating? 6.5? Would you go lower than that? Would you go higher than that?
So first thing before we before I give out my scores, I just wanted to let everyone know that I'm going to also consider the fact that we went to a new place, which is Dubai, completely conditions off here, and we didn't have much time to relax or just get used to the conditions as well. I'm going to take that into equation before giving the scores. I still give 6.5 for Thiago Silva, no change there, but just wanted to let that sink in for everyone so that when I go up the order, maybe there is a bit of confusions and you don't get surprised by it. But Thiago Silva, a couple of important blocks as well, which I think could have ended up in the back of the net. Like when I say a couple of blocks in the same play. So he had a couple of blocks, and I think those shots were on target had it been not blocked. I'm not sure if Kepa would have saved it. So this was in the second half towards the start. I think he gets a 6.5. Good job. Rolls Royce of a defender, Silva.
For sure, man. I mean, the commentator while I was watching it called him the Lionel Messi of centre-backs. So I was like, all right, go on then. Vijay, I'll actually stick with you. Go on. Christensen, what did you make of him? I thought Christensen was pretty decent, to be fair, in terms of how aggressively he defended.
Actually, Christensen was good. The reason why I say that is because Azpilicueta most of the time was so up in the pitch, like so high up in the pitch, that he had to handle a lot of area as well. So and if you notice the first half, whatever attack they actually did was on that flank. They wanted to target Aspi's flank because they knew that he was going to be high up the pitch supporting Ziyech, and that's the place that they wanted to probably exploit. And Christensen did a good job in covering that space, and he gets a 7. I want to give 7.25, not 7.5. Since 7.25 doesn't exist, I'll probably give a 7 then. I'm kind of so confused between 7 to 7.5, but depending on your rating, you can probably change it if you want.
Oh, fair dues. Let's see what the other boys say, and then we can go back to you, and you can kind of minorly adapt it if you want to. Let me go to you, Pice. What do you make of Andy?
7.5 easily. I thought he was very, very good. I actually tweeted out his stat line was crazy. I didn't realise he had 15 duels and 112. That's pretty impressive. I thought he was very, very good. The only time he lost the ball, he actually won it back with a very good tackle. That was the only moment. But apart from that, I mean, yeah, he was brilliant.
And he could have had an assist. There was a lovely cross in the first half, which unfortunately Aspi kind of nicked away from Havertz. Yeah,
I thought he was really good today, 100%. Which is probably I imagine that would have been the key pass that I read, most likely.
Potentially, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, he was very solid. I'll give him a 7.5.
Let me go to you, Clutch. What do you make of him?
I am also going to go with a 7.5, and that stat line that Pius was talking about, he won 8 out of 8 aerial duels, which is an insane stat for our center back. So I think he was absolutely brilliant today. I think he was our best center back. It was just solid pretty much the entire game. Anything that came in the air, he dealt with. So I give him a 7.5.
Fair. I would have given him a 7. I do think he was the best of the 3. but I just didn't overall think we were quite good enough for that many 7.5s. So we'll get to more ratings later, but there just wasn't many in there that I would have gone that high for. But hey, here we are. That's why we have different people on to give different ratings. VJ, just to be clear now, would you then rather lean towards the 7.5 or rather lean towards the 7?
The reason why I said 7 was because there are not a lot of people I would give 7.5 in this game, like more than that, like how you mentioned, right? There are people who might get 7.5. For me, Christensen is a 7 today, not 7.5. I'll stick with the 7.
Okay.
2 7s and 2 7.5.
It's no problem, bro. It's no problem. But ladies and gentlemen, that means you are up, because that means we have 2 7s and 2 7.5s. So get your thoughts involved. What did you make of Andreas Christensen? Was it for you a 7 or was it for you a 7.5? I'd be very intrigued to hear what you guys think. In the meantime, boys, you can already think about what you're going to give. What you're going to give Rudiger. Come on, boys, get involved. 2 7.5s, I see. What more will we get? What more will we get? Another 7.5. Looking good. Looking good for you guys. He was good. Another 7.5. All right. I've seen 4 7.5s. If, the other people want to outvote, you were too slow. Antonio,
you got an 8 in there as well. 2 people with 8s, 2 people with 7s.
2 people with 8s. They didn't understand the rules again.
3 people with 7s. Oh, someone said he's a Barcelona player, so they give him a 7. That's harsh, bro. Nothing's done yet.
Yeah, I think overall it's still the 7.5 slightly wins over the 7, but it isn't completely clear, that's for sure. But Pice, as you were talking, I'll go with you first, Antonio Rudiger. Would you rate him?
Yeah, so I was going to give him a 7 because I think he was really good, but I think Christensen was just involved in a lot more scraps. But I think in terms of Marega down that side, I thought that was the perfect battle for Rudiger because, he loves a fight. He loves getting someone big and strong. He just likes the physical altercations. So I think that was perfect, him playing down that side on the right. Couldn't outpace Rudiger. Couldn't even outstrength him. He couldn't get past him hardly any time. So, I think 7 would be fair enough. Attempted quite a few long balls as well. He always does those long passes, but I think he had 1 with his marauding runs. But yeah, pretty solid overall. I wouldn't give him as high as Christensen though.
Fair. I want to just shout out Aaron's super chat here. Big up yourself for donating. I'm saying stinky game, but dub is a dub. Last check Twitter DMs. I just did. Don't have a message from you. Are you sure you sent to right account? Because I'm a bit confused. But again, appreciate the donation. You said 7 for Rudiger, didn't you, Pice?
Yeah.
There you go. Fair play. Let me go VJ next.
Oh, I was talking on mute. Yeah, 7 for me as well.
Okay.
Nothing much in the game, but he did have a very difficult job.
Up to you.
He did have a very difficult job today with Marega, like Clutch mentioned. It's not easy. He's so physically strong, and I think he did a good job at that. Like once he did miss on that Marega run, which led to a Kepa save, like a one-on-one save. But apart from that, yeah, he was good. He's good. He gets a 7.
Fair dues. And Clutch, what do you think of Rudiger? What rating would you give him?
I'd probably go for a 6.5. I think he got beat by Marega too many times for my liking today, and most of the attack came from his side. I necessarily...
He didn't get... Sorry to interrupt, but he didn't get drilled past once, bro. Maybe it was Alonso.
I remember him getting bullied out of the way a couple times. At least in the first half. In the second half, he was much better. In the first half, I remember it.
But he did get once beaten. Like that's the time when Kepa saved it on the left. If you remember, on his legs.
That was more of a through ball, right? It wasn't like a one-on-one.
I still expected him to, at least give him a challenge in terms of pace for Marega because he's not that quick, but Rudiger is quick. So I expected him to give a chase there, but he completely fell off the road.
I remember there was a moment in the first half when they played the ball down towards the right-hand side, and it was past it, and Rudiger just got absolutely bullied out of the way and got ran past by Marega. It was the only time it was like one of 2 times I think I seen it, but Rudiger shouldn't be getting beat by Marega. Like, he's just too good for that. And I'll even give him the pass of saying it's hard with Alonso next to you. So you're really not going to get much support in that regard. So, yeah, my 6.5 probably is not going to make a difference. I'm going to stick with it.
Oh well, depends on the chat, because I might agree with you. So my ratings for the three centre backs would have been Thiago 6, Rudiger 6.5, Christensen 7. That would have been my 3. So I'm going to go 6.5 for Rudiger as well, and not necessarily much because of the defensive issues. Like, I did think he was pretty good. Maybe 1 or 2 occasions we could have done a bit better, but that happens to everyone in the game. But I just thought, other than Christensen, all of our centre backs, but I was mostly unhappy with them is just they didn't progress the ball the way I would have liked. I don't like when Rudiger attempted long balls, they were usually quite bad. The ones I saw, and I thought he could have attempted a couple more. The one run he went on, he just lost the ball. I'm like, if you're going to lose the ball, don't go on the run because you're a centre back, please. So for me, it's a 6.5. But ladies and gentlemen in the chat, you're required to step in once more. So please put in the chat whether you would have given him a 6.5 or a 7. If you go higher or if you go lower, it's just going to count as the higher or the lower of the two I'm giving you. So it doesn't count as more. So put it in the chat what you make made of it, so we can decide.
Oh, sorry. So just to someone in the chat, Jack Zeldin, saying, "Why are you debating his opinion, bro? That's what we're on here for. If we don't agree, if we don't agree or can't remember something, I'm going to say something. I just had to say that. It's a bit of a weird comment.
All good, mate. All good. Okay, I can see 3, 4, 6.5s, 2 7s so far. Let's see one more we've got coming. Another 7 by Melinda. Rudiger was pi r squared. All right. Fair enough. Put it in the chat if you got just as reference. It's quite good. Another 6.5, another 6.5. I think 6.5 is winning so far, but I'll give you another second because maybe I jumped too quickly earlier. So let's see. Okay, 2 more 7s. Although that's a lie because Flavany commented twice. Cheating. Don't comment twice. You can only do it once. Don't try to sway things. I see it. Aaron Hussein. I'm still confused, by the way. Just super chat. There you go. Here you are. I will get back to you after the stream. I will do. Okay. I think the 6.5 slightly wins, but, don't hate me, please. But here we are. 6.5. Let's move on to the wing back. So let's see if they get the lowest ratings today, but I certainly think they probably should. Although Kante, might give them competition, but we'll see. Shall we do Aspie first because we did the right side first of the centre backs? Now, I think Aspie was better than Alonso, but do I think he was good? No. He was trying. I suppose he was trying, but it just weren't it. Like, it's just I don't even know. See, to me today, it wasn't just purely the fact that the wingbacks weren't good. To me, the wingbacks just didn't work because, like, we just let them be in no man's land. Like, we didn't use them high enough up the pitch to be much use in attack, basically. But they weren't deep enough to be much used defensively either. So they were just caught in no man's land, and neither of them are good enough on the ball to be a lot of help in terms of midfield. So, yeah. I'm going to give Aspie, 4. I'm going to say 4. I'm very intrigued whether you guys think I'm harsh here now, whether you would agree. Clutch, I'll let you go first after myself, I suppose. This time, 4 too harsh for you, or would you go along with it?
I'm going to go a little bit higher. I'm going to go 4.5 because Lukaku should have had an easy tap in, and that was a pass from Aspie.
Oh, yeah, I agree. Okay.
So I'm going to give a 4.5.
There you go. Yeah, no, I agree. That's a good shout. There you go. That's fair. Anything else you'd like to add, or leave it at that?
It's just if we're going to play this wingback system, we got to have Reece James out there. And if he's not available, and especially on the other side, if you want to use Kennedy and try him, sure. But Alonso and Aspie, they can't be our wingbacks if we're going to play the system. And they're the main reason why I don't like doing it.
Fair enough. Pice, I'll go with you next. 4.5 too harsh for you?
Yeah, 5 for me.
Okay, so not too far off.
Yeah, not too far. Maybe even a 5.5. He was a decent outlet. He was nowhere near as bad as Alonso. I think. Yeah, he did his best. I don't remember him doing anything horribly wrong. I think with Aspie as well, we kind of have to be a bit lenient because of how old he is. He's not supposed to be playing wing back anyway. So
yeah, it's true.
I do feel a bit sad for beating him with a stick almost every time he plays wing back. You know, it's just like, bro, like I love you, Aspi. You know, I know your limitations, but you know, I don't really want to beat you with a stick for it unless you cost us a goal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear it. See, it's just weird because honestly, I was pretty happy with the first half, and now when when I think back to things, what did Aspi do? Like, well, Glutch just mentioned air across to Alonso, or the amount of times he was an outlet on the right side for lovely switch balls by mostly Kovacic. Those were good situations, but then in the second half, I didn't even notice him having the ball, like in offensive areas. So I'm like, in the second half, to me, I mean, they were all poor, but that goes for him. So maybe for the first half, I'd give him like a 6.5, and then for the second half, I'd give him like a 3, if I'm being perfectly honest. I was really disappointed with the second half, maybe 3.5. So I guess that's why I kind of end up on my 4.5. But I do see what you're saying, Pais, if I'm honest. Vijay, for you, we have. Are we going to need to chat again, or will you go in one direction?
I want to go for the 5.5, if I'm to be honest. Like, I felt Haspi did a good job. I mean, you have Alonso on the other flank. Of course, he's going to be under a lot of pressure. And that pressure that he's dealt with today, because most of the attacks were coming from our right side, to be honest with you, because he was trying to drive from the right side most of the time. He was always high up the pitch. He wanted the ball. It's how it progressed. Like, we didn't have much of things that could come from Azpilicueta, because we relied too much on Ziyech, and Ziyech decided to take a lot of shots as well, rather than to whip the balls in for the defender, sorry, for the attackers, which he usually does. Like in the Plymouth game, he did that. But Aspi was still there. Like, he was still working hard for that overlap runs and all of that. So I felt Aspi was a 5.5 today. Like 4, come on, Laurenz. You might have to rethink that. Come on.
Nah, because it doesn't matter anyway, because your 5.5 takes it to a 5 overall anyway. So I think we're all good. And with this time, we for once don't even need the chat. Sorry, chat. You're not involved this time. Alonso next. Al Hilal, their right back. He's not even like a particularly great player. He made him fall over twice. Like, what are you even doing with your life? You got replaced at wing back by Malang Sarr, who's a centre back. How bad do you have to be for that to happen? He played one good cross, mind you, in the first half. One good cross, far post to Lukaku, tried to head it back to Ziyech. Unfortunately, got intercepted. It wasn't even a bad head down by Lukaku. It was actually decent. That was a good cross. But that was also one other cross. I'm like, it was such a bad cross that they didn't even show a replay. That's how bad it was. I'm like, Alonso, you're so Alonso today. It's great. But yeah, I'm not going to shout out my rating yet because it makes it boring. Let me go last. Why don't I? BJ, I go first with you this time. Marcus Alonso then, in comparison to Aspi, I suppose. What do you make of Alonso? What would you rate him as well?
I'm not going to give anyone less than 4 today, because end of the day, we still won the game. So I'm going to stick with 4, the lowest for me in this squad. Maybe like how Flavine says 3 for participation. For me, 4 for participation. He was just involved in the attacking half of things. So yeah, for participation, he gets a 4 for me. We still managed to win him. See, we have to be, so this is what I say, right? We still had Alonso for most of the game, and we still managed to win the game. And he didn't do, though there were certain things that he did which caused errors and mistakes, he still didn't lose the game. So he gets a 4 for me.
Fair dues. Tice, I go with you next, bro. 4 for you. Would you go lower than that?
It's a bit of a weird one. Like, I don't know how to judge it, because obviously he was getting beat, but it didn't lead to goals. But if it was against better opposition, probably would have led to a goal. So, yeah, maybe. Yeah, I'll go over 4. Yeah, 4 seems about right for me.
Fair dues. And then you, Clutch. 4 for you. Would you go lower? Would you go higher?
In this system, wingbacks are crucial. They're usually some of the players that have the most touches on the ball. They're progressing, and they're one of the main ways that we get the ball forward. Alonso had like 30 touches this game, and he was getting beat left and right. I'm going to give him a 3. I really can't stand Alonso when it comes to like these kind of games.
Bro, I will agree. I'm going to say 3. I mean, I went lower for Aspi than you guys did as well. I just think big reason why we did nothing in the second half was because our wingbacks are both poor, and the midfield. But I think all of those 4 were the biggest reason. The least so Kovacic, I suppose, but what a big reason why the second half, in my opinion, was just really, really bad. But I suppose 2 3s and 2 4s, we sit at a 3.5 quite comfortably. let's do Jorginho first. Obviously, he came off at halftime, but still played the first half. I thought he was good. I thought it was pretty good. Played some decent
Laurenz.
balls. Did he not even have a shot from distance where I thought he nearly scored?
It got blocked.
It got blocked. Yeah, there you go. It did get blocked, to be fair. It was pretty decent, I thought, in terms, especially winning the ball back. But yeah, nothing outrageously special either, I will say. I don't know. 6.5, 7 is what I'd like. Somewhere like that. I'm not sure. Maybe I'll leave it as an uncertain for the time being, and maybe whatever you guys say will help me decide between the two. Who should I go with first this time? Sorry to throw you under the bus, Clutch, but it's your turn to go first.
I thought it was really good. I think that second half just shows how important, especially in this system, Jorginho is. He's the controller. He keeps us calm. He keeps possession. I mean, that stat I put where they had 55 in the second half and we had 62 in the first, that's him. That's mainly him. He is one of the main drivers of keeping possession for us. He's always looking for that outlet to one of the back three or to a wing back, and I think we lost control of the game was mainly because of him. I'd go a 7. I think a 7 today.
Fair dues. VJ, I'll go with you next.
6.5 for me. The first thing is, this shows the kind of importance that Jorginho has in terms of controlling the game, and also especially when we play teams which are not from Premier League, right? Be it the European teams or be it like the Asian teams like this, right? He provides a sort of composure that no midfielder in our team right now provides. Right, for me, Kovacic and Kante, I've never liked Kovacic and Kante together. Like, of course, there are instances where they've been very successful. I'm not denying the fact that they were successful, but I kind of feel better when Jorginho is on the pitch. I don't know what he does, but he kind of gives that stability and the composure to the game. I know there is a lot of sideways passes and defensive passes involved in his game, but once we get the lead, it's better to always have Jorginho on the pitch because he tends to give you that, that calmness, because Chelsea sometimes can be heart attack FC, and with Jorginho on the pitch, I think I don't get heart attack that much. So yeah, sometimes he does make mistake. That's obviously there, but I felt today specifically he was good until he was replaced. I'm still not sure why he was replaced. Maybe he was just preserved for the Palmeiras game. But had he been on the pitch, it would have been a much more comfortable 1-0 victory for us. That's how I put it. So a 6.5, a 6.75 basically. But then, you know what? I'm going back on my same thought. It's a 7 for me, not a 6.5.
Fair it is, my bro. Pyston, what do you think?
Yeah, it's hard because it's judge him on 45 minutes, but he was pretty good. Wait, what did VJ go? 6.5 or 7?
7 in the end.
7. This is difficult because I would have given Rudiger a 7. Yeah, I'll go with 7. I thought he was pretty good. Especially because of the fact that I thought we lost a bit of control when he came off. And I always think that no matter what happens during the game, I always think when he comes off, you lose control of the game. Just whether or not, whoever it is, Plymouth, Al Hilal, doesn't matter. I think he's that important for the build-up.
Yeah. Was he subbed off against Plymouth? I'm not sure. But regardless, no, today, 1,000,000%, I agree. And yeah, from what you guys have said, I think I'll go along with the 7 as well. I wasn't sure between 6.5 and 7, but I think I will go along with it. Let's go to Mateo Kovacic. In terms of outfield players, I thought the best player today. Now, mind you, I personally gave Christensen a 7, so I'm going to give Kovacic a 7.5, but I thought he was better than Christensen, even though Andy obviously sits there at his 7.5 as well. But let's see, maybe the guys go higher. But I thought, Kovacic was good. A few lovely switch balls. Played Lukaku in a couple of times, which Lukaku should have done a bit more with on a couple of occasions. And sometimes he tried to maybe dribble past a few too many players and I slightly overhit touches. But in general, I thought he was our best outfield player, if I'm honest. But, 7.5 from me. Pice, I'll go with you first this time, or first after me, I suppose. 7.5 for you. Would you go even higher than that?
8 for me. Definitely a whole rating above Jorginho. You got man of the match as well. I'm going with 8.
How on earth did he get man of the match over Kepa though? But anyway, but yeah, no, fair play. For me, it's just I see what you mean. In the first half, I agree he was an 8. I just think the second half, everyone was
so good in those tight spaces as well, bro. Like winning fouls for the team when we was under that spell of pressure as well.
Mm-hmm.
Just so good at dribbling and going forward. And but by the way, he should have had one assist in the first half and one kind of pre-assist. That through ball to Lukaku was very good. And I don't know how. I mean, everyone was gassing Lukaku for that moment, but he literally hit it straight at the keeper. Yeah. And then the second one, he played the lofted ball into Lukaku, which then he laid off to Ziyech. And then in the second half, he played some chipped, lofted ball over the top of the defence, which I think went to Havertz. Was that the one where he hit the post? I think. So that was 3.
No, when he hit the post, that was the whole run from Havertz.
Oh, right. I don't know who it was to then. I think it passed to Havertz, but it literally set us in on goal. So that was 3 really good passes in today's game. I could even go higher, but I'll go with an 8 because it was only 1-0. But his individual display was very good.
Fair dues. Clutch, go with you next. 7.5, 8, potentially lower, potentially higher. What would you go with?
My initial thought was 7.5, but my love for Pius, and he just convinced me to go to an 8. So I do think...
Can I convince you to go a little bit up, 8.5? Should we go 8.5?
No, because I think 8.5 is going to be the best that I'm going to give today, and it's not Kovacic.
All right.
But I do think Kovacic was fantastic. I do think he was really good. Unfortunately, kind of had to sit back a little bit more in the second half because, him and Conte are both those box-to-box midfielders, so he had to kind of judge when he could go forward and when he couldn't. With Jorginho next to him, he had that license to push forward, make the runs, make the passes. So, yeah, I'm going to go with an 8.
Fair dues. We're sitting on an 8 so far then. BJ, help us out. 7.5 or 8? If you got 7.5, we need to chat again, bro.
You know what? I want to get the chat involved. I personally would have given an 8, but I want to get the chat involved. 7.5. Come on. Yes.
But let us explain, obviously, why you go with your 7.5 as well. Obviously, don't want to cut you off like that.
Yeah, sure. So the thing is, first thing is, right? I always called him a Croatian Messi because I like the way he plays. In Premier League, it's very difficult to dribble like this. We've seen a very few players who does that. I'm not saying he dribbles like Saint Maximin or something because they have strength to dribble in the Premier League. He doesn't rely really on the strength, but his technique and his speed and elegance to do that. And I really like that in a midfielder. And the number of times he actually did that today to relieve pressure in the midfield area when especially Kante was not working fine as well in the second half. Oh my God, he was brilliant. For me, he gets the best rating for me in today's stream. And that's why I would have gone for an 8. But I really want the chat to actually provide the final call here. So I'm going to go with the 7.5 so that the chat can have the final call. And I expect the chat to the end come to an 8 so that,
Exactly. If they let you down now, boys, you can't let VJ down now. He gave you the chance to get involved, so you can't let him down now. But put it in the chat, 7.5 or 8 for Kovacic. Like I explained already, if you go higher or lower than those 2 options, it will just count as either 7.5 or 8, right? Here we are. I've seen 3 8s already. 7.5 by Adam. 8 is too high considering competition. I would probably tend to see that logic if I'm being perfectly honest. Both good lads. Okay, some different. Oh, I see a lot of 8s. VJ, the chat are not letting you down, bro. The chat are not letting you down. Here we are. I mean, I'll see. Maybe there's a lot of 7.5 still coming, but so far it's looking good. There's a lot of lot of 8s. Zigzag with the 7.5. Big K with the 7.5. But still, definitely more 8s than I've seen 7.5s so far. Oh, Jester with the 7.5. Okay, couple more 7.5s
just you
coming
had to do that.
Oh, even more 7.5 is what's happening.
You had to go and jinx it, didn't you, Laurenz?
No, another 8. James brought it back. Oh, having a good laugh, aren't we? Let's see if there's more. Otherwise, we'll leave it at that, and I'll give you the 8. I mean, because VJ was leaning anyway. You just Zane changing to a 10. Still an 8, bro.
Wow.
No, but Flavany trying to cheat again. I see you, bro. I see you. No end product, you can't give an 8. I see what Jester means in all honesty, but at the same time, end product is always a little bit debatable when you're playing a double pivot, I think. But I do see the logic anyway. But we have the 8. Overall, the chat certainly outvoted the 7.5. Let's move to the front 3 then. Interesting one. Because none of them were great. And the one that was the worst scored. but he was still better than a recent game. So I'm not going to go 0 or poo emoji. It's a bit better. But yeah, let's do Hakim Ziyech first, because he's arguably, I guess, the least attacking of the three in terms of positioning. I will give Hakim. I'll tell you now, because otherwise people might flame me. So I'll give you all three ratings now. I'll say Ziyech 6.5, maybe 7, but 6.5. Havertz 5.5, maybe 6. Lukaku 5. That's what I go.
5 for Lukaku.
Is that too low or too high?
Whoa, way too low, bro. I know we don't like Lukaku, but I thought he was actually pretty good today.
Pretty good in comparison to usual. Like he's still okay, but hold on. He missed the cross of Aspi. He literally just didn't hit the ball again, which is £100 million striker that can't hit the ball when it's flying at him. Right, that's a guaranteed goal. That must be a goal. Kepa played him in. He got exactly the ball that he claims to always want. He hit it straight at the keeper, and then when he was basically through on goal late in the game, he outran the ball again because of his Timberland touch. So he left it behind him, and that's why he had to spare it to Mount. So he should have scored 2 goals, and he only scored 1, which he had nothing to do with. It just fell to him. So that's why I'm not going higher than 5.
He had a few bozo moments, but overall he was much better than he has been. But like 5 is like, I swear. Wait, isn't 6 average? Is it 6 or 5 average?
If I go from 0 to 5, I've given a lot better.
Do we do 6 as average? I thought, or is it 5? If it's not
it
6,
is 6, and hence why I'm going 5.
All right, fair enough.
I guess it's kind of 5.5 is the average. For me in my head, but
fair enough.
I don't know.
Fair enough.
But hey, bro, you can go with your 7 or whatever you want to go with in the end anyway, and we'll see where it leads us. But yeah,
maybe not.
Yeah, no. I thought the chat was just going to absolutely flame me if I was going to give Ziyech a 6.5 and not a 7. So that's why I wanted to explain the others. Maybe I will give Kai a 6. I will say maybe it's a 5. 5.5. I don't know yet. I'm still debating this. But yeah, Ziyech will go 6.5. So let's see what you guys think. Clutch, I'll go with you first on this one. What do you make of him?
I thought Ziyech was pretty good. I thought if we were going to get something done in the front three, I think it was going to be him. He was attempting to create, and especially when yesterday we were sitting here and we said Ziyech is one of those players we have to kind of play towards. It's not Lukaku right now, man. And Ziyech has been our best player for the last couple games now. So whatever formation we play, we should be suiting it towards him. I still think he was decently good today. I don't think, as much as other people want to kind of downplay it, yes, there was no end product, but that almost half volley chance that he almost hit, like that took a crazy save. I mean, that would have been a wonder goal if he scored that. I mean, it took a good save to stop that. So, I mean, it's just...
I did feel harsh saying 6.5. It was just the case that I just didn't think our attack overall was good enough. And if I compare it to like cover, like, do I think he was just one worse or one less good than cover? No. So... Do you know what I mean? But if you guys say 7, I might even be inclined to like kind of be swayed. But I was not 1,000,000% sure. But sorry, Clutch, I cut you off there again. My bad.
No, but I thought I think I'm going to go for a 7. I thought he was pretty good today. I really want him to keep up that form, and especially if we switch to a back 4 where he can cook absolutely even more than he has been, start getting some of the passes in there. I do agree if we were going on the second half alone, then probably these are going to be a little bit lower, but I mean, Ziyech was one of the best players on the pitch in that first half. I mean, especially when you look at his
I will actually agree with your 7, and I'll explain why. Because the last few weeks made us think, okay, if we played a 4, if we played a 4-3-3, 4-1-4-1, whatever you call it, he works there. But today he didn't get to play in that position, and he was still the most involved and threatening. Well, not threatening necessarily, but the most imposing and commanding of our forwards. And for that reason, because he managed to produce that also in the formation that seems to not suit him as well, that's why I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and push it up to a 7. That's what I'll do. I'll let Post go last on this one. VJ, why don't I go with you next? 6.5, 7 for you. Would you even go higher than that? What would you make of Hakim?
I'm going to give Ziyech a 7. These are the factors that why I would probably consider a 7 for him, right? The first thing is, we did not play to his strengths. Let's be honest about it. This is a back 3. This is a front 3. It's not a front 4, It's not a back four formation. Well, what am I saying? Okay, it's not. It's a back three. It's not a back four formation. And if you also look at it, like I think he was trying hard to get a goal today, probably because of his retirement that he had earlier announced. He wanted to like prove people that he still is, he still is in the top of the game. He wants to get a goal and prove people wrong or something like that. So maybe he was trying a bit too hard to actually score goals. Otherwise, I expected Ziyech to convert them into crosses, which he usually does very well.
Yeah, it's
but
true.
then he decided
especially
to shoot.
compared to Plymouth. How many crosses did he whip into the far post then? And today,
Yeah, and he decided
one.
to shoot everything today. I think that Moroccan retirement could have played a bit in his, mentally for him. That's one thing. And apart from that, if you look at Ziyech playing in the back four formation, Mount tends to give a bit of he has that workload. Mount kind of shares that workload with Ziyech, and that allows him to be a bit better in terms of like whipping crosses. He is a bit freed up when Mount is there along with him, and he just had Aspie to do that today. And with this formation, it did not really suit him because all the pressure was on him to actually deliver on the crosses, because he didn't have anyone to support him on that wing, on that flank. And that's where I think maybe Ziyech struggled a bit, and that's why I think Ziyech usually struggles a bit. Had there been Mount to support him, I think he would have done a lot more better job today. So considering all that into equation, it would be too harsh for him to go anything below 6.5 or 6, and 7 is a fair one for him because he played completely a different game than what he wants or what he likes to play.
That's true. It's not even that it's just not Mount, but also because obviously the wing back was behind him. He was the one that had to fill the slightly more narrow role, and he feels more comfortable in the wider role. And yeah, that's basically exactly what I said earlier. For that reason, I was pretty happy with him. And yeah, he did still put crosses in Reggie game, but no, like against Plymouth, it was like 20 plus. Do you know what I mean? Like it's not quite the same. And Pice, finish it off for us. 7 for you as well. Would you go lower? Would you go higher?
Yeah, I do pretty much agree with everything Vijay said there. I mean, yeah, I think the only frustration, as again Vijay said, not enough crosses for me today. Just not enough. A lot of he's kind of dribbling a lot of those step overs, and then it just didn't really come to anything. He'd often pass it back and not cross it, which I think one of his biggest strengths is crossing it. So, yeah, but I mean, fair enough. I guess he's got the confidence for the Spurs goal as well. Definitely shooting a lot more. It was 3 shots, which I remember got blocked. So yeah, I mean, to be fair, it's kind of ironic that I put him down for shooting more, because one of the things I always say is I want you to shoot more. So when he does it, I shouldn't really criticize him, but I kind of also want the balance. I want shots and crosses. I want the all-round game, and so. But I do agree. I think you get more of that in the 4 at the back. I think he gets more freedom. He never looks as good in the 3-4-3 or whatever.
I think it's just. Do you not agree? I think because he's more narrow, if he was to cross, he needs to cross with his right foot more, and because he's obviously much more comfortable in his left foot, he doesn't really get.
There's more width in the 4 at the back as well,
much.
right? There's definitely more width in the 4 at the back as well.
Yeah,
like it's as you said, it's quite narrow in this. It's more difficult, but still, I think with Lukaku in the box, like whether or not he scores him, you still need to float more crosses in. There was like one to the back post, I think. Well, that might have been Aspie actually. Did Alonso nearly get to it, or was that someone else? I can't remember.
Havertz was right behind Aspie.
I can't remember.
But that was Christensen's cross, I thought. I'm not sure. Maybe
maybe. But the point is, I don't think he crossed enough. That's the point.
Fair dues. It's weird, isn't it? Because we gave him a 7 because we still think it was commanding and pretty good, but there was still a few things because he was so good the last few games, we almost like, okay, come on, do that again, please.
Yeah, he was good on the ball, like tidy. He didn't really lose the ball much. There was one time where, like a lot of the times, if Ziyech plays really bad, he'll have a lot of ball losses, like loads. There was one time where he dribbled into the box, kind of like ran out of room, just lost the ball, like tried to flick his heel here to get it back. He just lost the ball. I was like, Ziyech, like that's not what I want to see. But apart from that, he was pretty good. And he looks much more confident now. Like you can tell he's on good form at the moment. So yeah, and I think again for me, I mean, he probably has to start the final somewhere. I don't know what the game plan's going to be. I mean, I just read a quote. Obviously, the coach. It was Zolt Low in charge, by the way. If anyone didn't notice, it wasn't Arno Michaels like Plymouth. It was Zolt Low. And he said he's going to watch a lot of the Palmeiras videos over the next few days. So maybe the setup will be different. I don't know.
We'll see. It's certainly going to be interesting. I wouldn't be shocked by it, if I'm honest, because do you really see Kovacic getting dropped? I don't. And the fact that Kante played a half today and Jorge played a half today tells me both are going to play next game. So that's why I'm expecting all three, maybe, in the midfield three. But I could be wrong. We'll see. And if it's one that's dropped, it has to be Kante and not Koba or Jorginho, because Kante was by far the worst of the three today. But let's move to Kai Havertz. Again, I'm still not sure whether I'm giving him a 6 or a 5.5. I might be inclined for the 6. But I'll let you lot sway me, if you don't mind. VJ, I'll go with you first.
First thing that I wanted to say with Havertz, it kind of looked a lot different than what we are used to seeing it from a winger that owns in Chelsea. Like what we get with Cho is completely different from what we get with Havertz, and I observed that today a lot actually. With Cho, he beats the man with his pace, and then he tries to run in. He doesn't cross properly, but then he attempts to try for a cross sometimes, and he cuts in and he does all these things right. Like he plays as someone who faces the goal. Kai Havertz is someone who plays as a winger with his back to back, facing the goal. Like kind of odd. He tries to do what he does in a false nine position as a winger as well, but then he also managed to
ideally play as a winger. But
yeah, exactly. That's kind of you got the point, right? He shouldn't actually play as a winger, but then he tried and adapted to that situation. So I think I'll give him a 5.5 today. Again, that particular cross, though it was a mistake, or we could still argue was a tap in for Lukaku from a mistake and all of that, the cross still was a good one, right?
Yeah.
Maybe Lukaku
could time his jumps ever. He could have just scored the header. But,
exactly.
Obviously he misses them every time.
Yeah, end of the day, that cross was on the plate for Lukaku. Again, how he finishes, that's on Lukaku. That's not on Havertz. His job was to just put them across, and I think he did a fair job there.
And his run for when, and if he gets that chip in, what a goal that is. Do you know what I mean? Like, obviously, then the people would say, oh, it's only Al Hilal, but on the other end, they're like, yeah, but we defended well. So, like, but what a run, and the chip, oh my days, if that would have gone in, what a shame. I'm almost like, because it almost was so good, that's why I'm almost inclined to push for the 6. But, so I think I'll push mine to a 6, but I'll let VJ obviously have his 5.5. Anything else you would like to add? Otherwise, I'll move on, bro.
No, I'm good.
There you go. Pice, let me go with you next. What did you make of Kai? Especially like VJ just said, playing winger when he's really not a winger, is he? Especially a left one.
Yeah, it's interesting because like I saw a load of people say he played amazing. I don't think he played amazing.
No.
I thought he played good. He was good on the ball, but there was definitely a few times. I think one time was actually when he hit the post. I thought he should have squared it, put a dangerous ball across the box for me. But yeah, as I said to you earlier, he was passing the ball back so much. I don't know why. But to be fair, I do cut him some slack.
Our striker is Lukaku and he doesn't move. But people won't want
to. Yeah,
hear that.
I do cut him a bit of slack. It's the first time he's played in like ages, and I thought he did pretty well given those circumstances. So I'm going to give him a 6.5.
6.5 fair do say, bro. I hear it. I'm here for it. So I guess let's put it to the 6 for now with one 5.5, one 6, and one 6.5. Clutch, do you want to sway either direction, or are you going to go with that 6 that we have on screen now?
No, I'm going to go with the 6. I think Ziyech was a level above the other two today. I really do. I think Havertz had a couple good moments. That little like knock on he did to get past the defender where he hit the post, that was by far one of the craziest moments I've seen from him. Yeah, you can give him a little bit of slack, but I would probably say it was just about average today for him. So I'd probably go with the 6. It's hard for me because I'm sitting here trying to debate how I want to do him and Lukaku for ratings. And I think I'm going to go with the 6 for Havertz.
Fair. It's a tough one. I thought he was pretty good in the first half, to be honest, but then in the second half, I just basically didn't see him at all. But obviously, it was his first start in a month. So, I mean, plus what VJ said in terms of and Pice, to be fair, and in terms of temperature, being more on, or the humidity rather, more the temperature, I suppose, being like getting tougher and tougher as the second half. Because then if you also haven't played more than 20 minutes in a month, then not exactly surprising that you would slightly fade as the game goes on. But then again, I pose the question, we had 5 subs. Why wasn't he subbed off then? But I don't understand our management sometimes. But hey, here we are. Clutch, I'll let you go first on Lukaku. I gave my 5 already, but I'll give my kind of explanations in more detail again later.
It's difficult because I don't think he played bad by any stretch of the imagination. I think it's probably the best performance we've seen him in the last 8 games we've seen him.
Oh,
that being said, there were a lot of moments where the tap in was. It's kind of, I don't even know how to put it, because he could have probably had a couple more goals. I do think he probably could have had an assist or 2. I'm gonna go for a 6. If I can't decide, I'm gonna go for a 6.
Mind you, all of those assists he could have got, other than one he was offside in anyway.
Yeah, that is true. All right, 5.5. You swayed me.
Cheers, mate. Here we are. I let Pies go last on it, just to get the potentially highest rating in at the end, just to make it the most interesting debate, I suppose. So Vijay, next for you. How did you see Lukaku's performance, and how would you rate it?
First thing, let's be honest about this. The defense of Al Hilal, they were kind of strong physically. If you look at them, like they were physically very fit to deal with Lukaku. And that's expected for any of the centre backs to actually have it. I think Al Hilal is a combination of quick-paced attackers and a strong defensive back.
Remember when we signed Lukaku and everyone told us no defender in the world will be able to handle him. Now you're telling me Al Hilal defenders can. Brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, see, again, we are looking at the context of things, like what we received in the first month when he came to Chelsea is not the same what we have right now, right? So we have to probably deal with it. And right now, with the current form that he is in, I think even Al Hilal's defenders could take him on, and especially when they were like very high, very physically strong. I thought he did a good job in terms of, like, first thing that I observed with Lukaku this time was like he tried to move away from the man. Like usually he's always stuck with the man. Most of the time, if you look at him, like he will be sandwiched between a couple of center backs, and then they will go for the ball if the cross comes from either side. Today, what he tried to do was he tried to move away from the center backs, trying to create some space for himself. Though the space was not exactly where our crosses were delivered, he still managed to pull off the defenders. That's something I could consider as an improvement, and that's got to do with him understanding his game better, or him improving his movement better, and that's the reason why I think he's done better than what he was earlier. But there's obviously a lot of work to do. So I'll give him a 6 today.
Fair dues.
Goal as well.
Fair dues. So we have a 5, a 5.5, and a 6 so far, leaving it currently as a 5.5. Pice, what's your rating?
6. It's going to be a 6. I just think his all-round play was a lot better. He made runs. I thought he worked hard. All the things I'm bashing him for, he did. So I can't. I think 6, to be fair, is usually the average. I thought overall he was pretty average, but like he was still better than he has been. Like the moments topple his rating down from like a 7 or a 6.5 to a 6. Like you said earlier, the one where he got played through at the end, and on transitions, those are his best moments where he's running through on goal. You look at Aston Villa, even the Aston Villa away game, he wasn't even as in as he was today. He was kind of even more on the sideline. He still managed to win a penalty there. Like he just completely messed up that attacking transition. There was obviously the couple that you mentioned as well that he should have done better in. And overall, some of his, like when he points, like the low balls across the box, like there was one from Mount, like. Mount, as the commentator, I think Pat Nevin said, if he puts that across the box, like it's not realistic, because the keeper's probably going to get it anyway. Like if he puts a low ball in there,
it would have been another easy tap in, which he
didn't. And there's never any runs across the front post. Like he's always wanting it towards the back post. I just don't understand. Like that's something he needs to figure out with players, and which again, surely you'd think only comes over time, but we don't know. But at the end of the day, bro, he got a goal. He got the goal, which was the winner. I know it was a tap in, but still, good. Good to be in the box. We would have absolutely slated him if he wasn't there. If he was at the edge of the box or something. So, I'll give him a 6. It's not even like it's not nothing fancy, but he played well, like or better than he has done anyway.
Oh, for sure. Like, as much as I'm compared to you guys, still a bit critical. Obviously, like I said, I've given him zeros for the last God knows how many games in a row. So, the fact that I've even given a 5
Yeah, like,
is
isn't
a
there?
bigger improvement than I've given anybody else. So,
Like, there's so many times where he plays alone up front where I just think like he cannot play. Like, he is just doing nothing. Like, he
that's
didn't do
such a big
nothing to
problem,
the.
man. You
You
signed
know what I mean?
£100 million for a player that apparently can't play alone.
Yeah, but he didn't do nothing today. You know what I mean? Like, he
Yeah,
actually got involved and
yeah.
put himself about a bit. And to be fair, I thought it would actually be the opposite because of these conditions and just the different climate and stuff. I thought he would be even worse than he has been, but maybe the warm weather train has done him some good, hopefully. And strikers, I keep hearing this from Hasselbank at halftime. Oh, Lukaku who did that goal. He hopefully will go on a goal. Goal return now. Well, I keep hearing this. I heard this after Chesterfield. So let's see if it does happen.
Yeah, see, I agree with that sentiment in general, but I don't think tap-ins count because I feel like for that whole confidence level to spike in a player, it needs to be like a somewhat good goal. Like, you could see it in Ziyech. That goal against Spurs like exploded him, I feel like. But because it was a great goal, a tap-in, it's never going to do that to anybody. Same as a penalty, it's never going to do that to you. But just because people will say I'm harsh. So Clutch put in a chat. He won 0 out of 4 aerial duels. He also won 0 ground duels. He was offside 3 times. He was fouled 0 times. And his shot accuracy was good. Hit it straight at the keeper every time, so that's right. Because even his goal, mind you, was like that far next to the keeper's legs. Even that was nearly safe. But no, I won't give him stick for scoring a goal. He did get his goal, as much as I think his timing and jumping is so bad. Like, I've never seen a player that's meant to be good in the air, but they're so bad at jumping. Like, I've never seen him get more than 3 inches off the ground. Like, why don't you jump properly? It's weird to me. It still wasn't great, in my opinion. I mean, we've mentioned a couple of situations there. Obviously, mentioning that I still don't understand. Like, how does he just miss the cross from Aspie early in the game? Like, it's just confusing to me. I don't even I'm not that upset at him for the cover through ball that he hit at a goalie, because I think Cover's ball maybe could have done with a little bit more pace, then it would have been a bit easier for Lukaku. But at least, for once, he got a shot off and he didn't turn around and pass backwards. So he did at least get a shot away. So fair play for that. But yeah, and the offside, he needs to stop the offside thing. I mean, 3 doesn't sound like a crazy amount, but especially when you consider we didn't attack basically once in the second half, other than Havertz's run, you're going to say 3 times is a lot. Like, don't be Timo Werner, please. Like, don't make things worse than they already are. But here we are. Who was the subs? Who was the first one that came on? N'Golo Kante came on for Jorginho, of course. Mason Mount came on for Hakim Ziyech. And what was the last sub? We made one more, didn't we? Oh, yeah, and Sarr came on for Alonso. Again, why did we only make 3 subs but call for 5 subs? I don't understand. But anyway, N'Golo Kante, I shall go first. I think it was awful. Genuinely awful, and I'll give him a 4. Gave the ball away a countless number of times. I mean, his tackling wasn't that bad, and you could argue it's more that his teammates' fault that when he tackles, it goes straight to the Al Hilal player, because obviously you need to be a bit closer. Don't keep the distances too big between yourselves. But yeah, no, I was really not happy with him. Does that mean he shouldn't start the final? In my head, yes. But do I also know N'Golo Kante, if he starts the final, it's probably going to be great. So, but today I really didn't think that was particularly good whatsoever. VJ, what did you make of Kante? And did you probably think 4 is too low because you gave Alonso a 4? So
now I'd go for a 5 for Kante. First of all, a disclaimer for me. I'm rating Kante purely based on this match's performance. I have high respects for Kante. So when I give a 4.5 or 5 for Kante, please don't take it the other way around. It's got nothing to do with, so for me, Kante gets a 5 today, specifically. So immediately I was looking at what I gave for Alonso, because for me, he was the worst player on the pitch. And Kante, to an extent, he was trying to match Alonso's performance today. But, even if he tried hard, I don't think so he will do that at any point. So
yeah, see, but that's the difference. Kante tried to be as bad as Alonso. Alonso just can't help it. Alonso just isn't any better. So
it has to come to you naturally.
See, I almost, sorry to interrupt you, I almost need to explain that to the viewers. That's almost like why I go as low, because that's like, we know in a way how good Kante is. So when Kante plays bad, it almost means he's like extra bad, because when Alonso plays bad, I don't expect him to be much better than bad. Do you know what I mean? It's Alonso. Like, what do I expect? So that's when Kante is bad. Even though was he only 1 or was he only 0.5? Was he 0.5 close to Alonso? Probably not, if I'm being totally honest with you. But obviously, I also gave Alonso a 3, mind you. But here we are. We have a 4 and a 5 so far. Pice, I'll go with you. What did you make of Kante? What would you rate him?
To be honest, I just want to give him 10 for that. For the flick he done over his head. Do you guys remember?
That was pretty good, to be fair. Yeah,
that was amazing. No, but in all seriousness, other than that, he wasn't great. But to be honest, I never really think Kante is great off the bench. Obviously, I think he's much better when he starts. He brought more energy. Like, he definitely did. He went forward a lot. He brought more energy. But, yeah, on the ball, he wasn't great. He looked a bit rusty in terms of a few of his passes. Were a bit loose. But, yeah, I mean, to be fair, so I give 6 as an average. So I'm going to give him a 5.
Fair dude. Was it... Well, kind of a 4.75 for the time being, which doesn't exist. So let's see what Clutch says, and then we see where we are. So what do you reckon, Clutch?
I'm going to stay in the middle of that 4.5, I think. Kante comes on to break up the play, and every time he tried, the ball went to somebody else on the other team. So, I mean, it wasn't really the kind of game that suited him. He's really good when they have possession. When they started getting possession, he wasn't able to break up the play like he normally does. So I'd probably lean towards a 4.5, yeah.
Fair enough. And next we go to Mount, even though Clutch told me before the game, he's lucky he gets an NA. I don't think he does get an NA, bro. He was subbed on in the 72nd minute, plus injury time. That's 20 minutes plus. That needs a rating. So on that note, Clutch, I'll let you go first on Mason then.
I think he had a couple good crosses, but other than that, like, it was not that normal Mason Mount. He was getting beat a lot. He wasn't pressing that well. Like, it just seemed like he wasn't all ready. And it didn't feel like the type of game for him to come in, because when he came in, it didn't change much. They still had possession. He didn't press well high. So, I mean, I'd probably go for a 5.
Fair dues. Pice, Mason Mount?
Yeah, difficult. I'm going to go 5.5 because I give Kante a 5. I think he was a tad better, but not much. I don't think he gave the attacking influence that we needed. We were saying a lot, when Mount comes on, you expect high levels of intensity. He didn't really bring that. I'm not sure how ready he was. I mean, the report that came out last night that he was actually ready to fit and available for selection, which would mean starting. But yeah, come off the bench. As I said, that didn't really link up with Lukaku. I was surprised with that. Just a few times out the right. Even Lukaku actually dropped, kind of like came off his centre back and dropped a bit deep for one of them to get the ball off Mount, and Mount just ignored him and passed to Kante. So I was like, okay, fair enough. But yeah, I mean, it was interesting performance from him. Not the greatest. Couple of corners he had. I don't really remember too much, to be fair. Just average. I'll go with 5.5.
Yeah, fair dues. And VJ, finish it off for us.
Since I gave Kante a 5, I'm going to give Mount as well a 5. They both were actually equally bad in the game today. First thing, that don't get me wrong, I like people with aggression in the field. I like players when they show aggression in the field, but sometimes it kind of felt that he showed unnecessary aggression in the 20 minutes or 18 minutes he was on the pitch, right? It kind of it as if seems like you're losing your head, basically. You're picking up a fight basically without even any reason, right? And he does that for most of the games nowadays. You do it occasionally, you be aggressive, it's fine. But, when that is kind of impacting your gameplay, I think you might have to cool down a bit and then, try and keep your, mentality calm and then start performing. Like, I saw him not just picking up a fight today. He's been doing that like for the last few games continuously. And that doesn't really sit well with me, because I think it could also have an effect in the way that, he carries out his game in the rest of the entire game, right? So I think he probably have to get that sorted as quick as possible and to keep his head focused on the football.
Every game.
Yeah, so I think that I'll go with a 5, not 5.5.
Fair do. See, I mean, Kante sits in the end of the 4.5, so I might agree on the 5 as well, if I'm being perfectly honest. Yeah, I think I will. I don't think he was bad, but when I look at his pass completions, and he attempted 7 passes and he only completed 4 of them. It's not a great stat. But at the same time, he could have had 1, if not 2 assists as well. Like what he had played 1 good cross, and all of a sudden there was no one there. And that's not, by the way, not. I don't even think Lukaku was in the. I don't know where Lukaku was, but that not trying to blame Lukaku for that for once. I don't. But obviously the other one where Lukaku, if he just stays, it's probably an easy tap in. He could have had 2 assists, so those 2 crosses were good, but otherwise there wasn't much to it. And I guess Malung Sarr just gets an easy NA because wasn't on the pitch for quite long enough. But like I said earlier already, the fact that Malung Sarr came on a wing back shows how bad Alonso was. But to me, man of the match, big Kepa, Arrizbalaga, probably his last game for a while, at least until the cup final. We'll see who gets to play that one. But yeah. The save against Marega, top class. Was there shot from distance? Was there Pereira that he saved?
No, I don't think so.
Well, whoever the shot was, that was going in. The guy was already like on his way to celebrate. What a save!
Kone or someone? I think it was Kone or someone.
Kano, is his name Kano?
Yeah, Kano or something.
Kano. Yeah, if Pereira nearly scored, CFC Daily would have tweeted, "I just nearly had a heart attack" or something. So true. We've been talking about Pereira for like the last day, and he did nothing. So that's what I'm most happy about. Actually, I didn't see that guy score against us again. Christ, oh my days.
Well, why do you have PTSD of bloody West Brom players, bro?
I don't know. Like it's like that Callum Robinson, right? He played for Sheffield and then moved to West Brom. It's like these guys always seem to score against us, all their goals. It's just like it'd just be typical. If a West Brom player moved to Al Hilal, then we've faced them in the Club World Cup, and he's like knocked us out or something. Like, but how does that happen then? How does that match up?
You're not wrong.
You know what I mean? That'd just be typical.
For sure. No, it's true. But regardless of whoever the shot was, what I say, like we say Kepa always gets beaten from long shots. This time, he saved that, and that was going side netting. It wasn't top corner. It was not fully like up. But still, it was a long shot, and it was a fantastic save. And, Lukaku obviously scored the goal that won us the game. But that was obviously very easy because it was a tap-in. Kepa was, in my opinion, the one that won us that game because those 2 saves are game-saving saves, and they were absolutely fantastic. 9, I don't know. I mean, he didn't concede, man, but he only had like 3 saves to make. 2 of those were great, but you didn't really have that many to make, I guess. I'm stuck between an 8.5 and a 9. I definitely think he should get the highest rating from anybody, and Cobb obviously so far the highest with the 8, but I'm not really sure, so I'll put down both for the time being, and whatever you boys say, I'll use that to make up my mind. Clutch, I'll go with you next. What would you go for Kepa?
I would go for an 8.5. I think he's my man of the match. I mean, he had 2 moments that very easily could have ended up us being in a penalty shootout with them, which I still back us to win a penalty shootout, but he stepped up when he needed to, and for the last couple games, he's making big saves. I mean, that's all you can ask of your keeper is to make big saves in the moments that need it. And I think he's saved our bacon, so to speak, for 2 games in a row. So I think it was hard to give him man of the match last game. I think we got to give it to him this game, though.
Fair dues. So an 8.5 so far. Price, go with you next.
So I'm just wondering why we're not giving him a 10 today, because I think without those saves,
to be fair,
I think I'm going to give him a 10, to be honest. I think without those saves, we're in a penalty shootout, I think, because I don't think we're going to win in extra time with how the game was going. Both teams were quite lethargic towards the end, especially. I mean, that save we're talking about was not just any save. That was a one-handed, insane long shot save. Like, if Mendy made that, I would be gassing Mendy to the hill. Like, that was a unreal save. That was not a normal save.
True.
I'm giving him a 10. I'm sorry, I'm giving him a 10. Has to be.
Hey, I'm here for Pice's positivity. I'm here for it, bro. I am absolutely here for it. VJ, would you go as high as a 10? Would you go 8.5? Would you go 9? Where would you sit on it?
All right. Yeah. So many ratings at 8.5, 9, 10. See, I thought Kovacic was the best player on the pitch, and I gave him an 8.5, I believe. So I'm going to stick with an 8 or an 8.5 for Kepa.
You think Kepa was better than Kepa?
Yeah, on field. I mean, the only reason why I say that is because Kepa actually didn't have a lot to do here, except for that couple of saves, of course. And one of those saves, like what how Pius mentioned, first thing is he's improved that aspect of his game. We usually have issues with Kepa, saving long shots, right? And he did that today, and that's always good to notice. But if you ask me, did he have a lot to do? And he still did the best? No. But was that his fault? Again, no. So
That's
I'm
why
kind
it's
of confused here.
It's almost like the goalkeeper ratings. Even though I want to give him the highest rating of everybody because I thought he was the man of the match, they're almost different because, like you just said there, the goalkeeper can't control how much he has to do, while a midfielder, it's almost his job to be involved. Like if a midfielder doesn't have anything to do or isn't involved, that's him being bad because a midfielder should. But a goalkeeper can only save what he's faced with, right? So it's almost like a little bit different. I know it's obviously the same frame, I get it, but like view it in your head if you want to, almost a little bit separately, because then I think it's easier. Otherwise, it's so difficult to compare goalies to actual players, I think.
You know what? Comparing, I'm going to go for an 8. And I'm still struggling in my mind.
Your rating, bro. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. I mean, Pius did kind of sway me. I can't lie, because I always go by like, could he have done anything better? Because could Kepa have done a few things better? He definitely could have done. As much as he was very good, could have done. But could Kepa genuinely have done anything better? You could argue he couldn't. So the 10 is arguably justified. What more than a clean sheet can you do? But I'll say just because, I don't know. Now you know what, I back it. Why not? I'm going to be positive. But that means we have an 8, an 8.5, unless Clutch wants to shout at me and change his rating, and 2 10s.
Nope, you're going to sway me to a 10. We're going to give him a 10. Y'all swayed me.
No. I can't ignore VJ completely. So even if you go 10, bro, I will give him his 9.5. Just so we don't, ruin it too much for VJ, because we appreciate VJ over here. I think he brings a lot of insight into the thing because he has a different way of looking at the game than I think a lot of us do. So I'm a big fan. But yeah, let's put the 9.5. Looks good in a way. Looks good. It looks like a fantastic display, which it was. So I think we are going to leave it at that. What have I just seen here? Oh, Broja apparently scored against Tottenham. Big up the Broja. Come on. What a man. What a boy. Big fan. Should probably put that game on after this. But ladies and gentlemen, I think we're going to round it out here. The thing that matters most, I mean, again, we're not going to do a manager's rating because who am I going to give the rating for? Because Tuchel does the team from at home and talks to the management during the game. But at the same time, still, obviously the Arno Michels and Charlotte Löw do most things because they're present. So that's why we don't do manager ratings until Tuchel is back. So we'll leave that out for the time being. But most importantly, whether you think we were great today, whether you think we were awful today, whether you think it was just decent, at the end of the day, we're into the Club World Cup final. And as I've been saying for the last week and a half, all I want is to win this. Even though we've seen, quick question, all of you guys, I'm sure, have seen the new kit that's potentially going to be a new kit. What do you think of it? Let me
is that a new kit, actually? I mean, if that was a new kit, like, it's almost like, I don't know, there's nothing in the kit. It's just a blue thing with no design or anything of that. So very plain.
It is very plain.
It's very nice, in my opinion.
I love a plain kit. That's why, like, I'm a little bit of a sucker for it, if I'm being perfectly honest with you.
They always had some weird bit to the top. They always had something weird bit. Like, there's always a weird bit, isn't there? Like, what's that top all about with the... It's not even Chelsea blue. It's like a Man City
it looks
blue.
like 3 paid extra to get like their whole, like the little pattern that they have on their number 3 on their logo. It looks like that's the kind of pattern we have on the collar.
Yeah, like this year, it's like we've got loads of weird patterns. Like next year is going to be on the collar. Like what's the year after on the fucking sleeve or something? Like
exactly.
It's so weird.
What you got to remember, like Kamal, big up Kamal by the way. What he says here in this comment on the side. Even if this is what the real kit will look like, this is obviously not a proper production kit from Nike. So like the whole thing will look a bit nicer. But yeah, I mean, anything else you want to add, Pies?
Oh, I mean, it's very nice. Like it looks almost like one of the France kits, which I like.
It reminds me of this little, like, this little line here. I'm not sure if this will be there in the real one, but remember the 09-10 home shirt?
Yes. I was going to say that. Yeah, I was going to say that with, like, I remember Drogba wearing that. Like, I just had a picture of Drogba in my head wearing that. Yeah, I was going to say the 2010 kit around that. But it had, like, the 2010 kit had, like, almost like bubbles around it, didn't it? It was like they had, like, little holes under where the arch bit is on that top.
Yeah.
Like,
it had a little, like,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, like a little pattern on it as well.
Yeah, it's true.
You know what?
It hints a little bit of it, that little line there. But I mean, personally, I don't hate it. Like I said, I like a plain kit, plain and simple kits. Am I a fan of the color? No, I really am not. But is it a million trillion times better than this season's kit? Yes. So in comparison to this season's kit, I'm like, amazing. But so now that I'm thinking about putting our little gold badge, if we hopefully win on Saturday, on this one, could be worse. But yeah, obviously, like I said, ladies and gentlemen, don't take the, like, how it looks on the coat hanger. Don't take that for that's what it's going to be, because this is not a properly produced shirt. But
Laurenz, it kind of looks like a base version of a design, right? You basically have a shirt and then you apply the bleach on top of it, like for the color, and then all that you do is just put the design. That's all. Like the designing stuff itself is not implemented yet. That's how it actually looks right now. Like if you ask me, this particular kit that we have for this year would have looked before designing like that, right? Maybe not the exact blue, but a version of it. And that's where I think, why no designs? Or maybe
I guess everyone has a different preference for shirts. Like I said, I like it when it's just plain blue. But in a way, I like it for the reason I like it is because whenever Nike do put patterns on it, they're shit. So I'd rather they do it plain so they can't ruin it. Do you know what I mean? That's always how I look at it. Clutch.
That's another angle to look at it, right?
Yeah. Clutch, your reaction to it? Do you like it at all?
I like the colors of it. For me, when it comes to kids,
start if you like blue. It's a good start.
I mean, my favorite color is green. Ever since I was a child, but blue is right there behind it. I do like the white pattern on the collar. For me, when kids start to have like that little button up or that like little flip over collar they have, I can't stand that on kids. I hate those kind of kids. Those are just like some of the grossest things to me, and I hate it.
Really? It's interesting because I kind of like the fact it's one button, because it's not the full thing, which ruins it a little bit because it makes it look a bit weird. But the fact it's one button, it's just like, see, just a hint of old school, but not too old school. Do you know what I mean? But hey, each to their own. Like I said, I got, move tight.
I like Chelsea's recent tweet as well, guys.
What did they say?
I like it. It's obviously they were calling Tuchel through the game, right? It's got like testing with Thomas Tuchel, like where they're Zoom calling him or something. If you look at it.
That's pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty good. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna leave it at this. Like I said, we're in the Club World Cup final on Saturday, which I'm very much looking forward to. Hopefully we play better, but at the end of the day, if we win 1-0 again, no matter how badly or great we play, it doesn't really matter. As long as we win, I'm happy. So let's get that badge for the chest. Let's get that trophy for the trophy cabinet. And can laugh at Spurs and Arsenal a bit more, which is always fun. But yeah, we're going to leave it at that. Big shout out to my 3 guests today. Clutch, follow him on Twitter. Check out Pice's, I guess, his Twitter as well. But first and foremost, I guess, his website. And big shout out to VJ. Of course, check out him on Twitter as well. It's just VJ Chelsea FC, if I'm not mistaken. I'll put the link down in the description after this. And obviously, as you can see, his YouTube is SportsWire. So check that out for sure. Just brilliant videos. I mean, did you even know, by the way, VJ, how Con gave you like the biggest shout out you could ever imagine? He was like, bro, Laurenz, have you seen SportsWire's video about the financials? It's mad. You need to watch it. See, Con was giving you all the praise, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I actually noticed that in his space, and then I told him straight up to him, like, thanks for appreciating the content, and he didn't really have to do it because I just have 100 subscribers, and thanks for actually noticing noticing that there was a video like this, and that's a good thing from Con. Really like that.
Let's get VJ to 200 subscribers as quickly as we can. So everybody go and follow and subscribe to SportsWire. And we will get you to 1,000 and all sorts of things. We'll make damn sure. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate every single one of you that has tuned in today. Up to Chelsea, upwards and onwards. One more thing I forgot before the whole outro thing. even though there's not that many people left anymore because you've been sidetracked, all sorts of madness. Subscribe if you haven't already. Smash the like button for me as well. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Up to Chelsea, upwards and onwards, and we'll see you next time.